Okay, so now we want to add the ability to add, edit, and delete skills. So the first thing I'll do here is create some kind of form template for our skill and then link this up here. So when a user hits add here, they'll see a template and then we'll render out some kind of form and then close it out with all the functionality for edit and delete. So let's go ahead and open these up here. So we'll go into the users app. So in here, I want to go into the users app templates folder and let's call this new template skill underscore form. So this will take care of create and update. So skill form.html. So we'll just do the standard stuff. We'll extend the main template. So we'll just do extends. And then that's going into main.html. That'll give us the styling here. Let's create the block tags. So just do block content. And we'll just do end block. Okay, so we have the block tags. Let's create some kind of title. So we'll just say create skill or something like that, and we'll get rid of this later. So create skill, and I want to add in a form, and then we'll customize this in a bit. So we'll just do form, and this is going to be set to a post method. So the method type is going to be post, and the action, this will point to, let's see, what do we want to call the URL here? So we'll just say, actually we'll leave this blank because this is going to be update and delete. So basically, depending on what you're trying to do, we just want to send that to the same URL. So whatever URL you are on, that's where it's going to send that. So in here, let's just pass in the CSRF token. So CSRF underscore token. And let's just create that input field. So we'll just do input and that with a forward slash. And then the type is going to be submit. And the value, we'll just say submit. So we'll just do value, submit, and that's it. Okay, so we have our template. Now we need to create our view. So we'll save this. Let's go into our users app, into views.py, and we'll just add this just, I guess, as the last view. So let's start creating this. So we'll create that function-based view, and we'll just say create skill. So we'll pass in request here, close this out. We'll just do return render, and in render we pass in request and we get the template. So we'll go into the users app, and then we're going into skill underscore form.html. So let's pass in the context dictionary. So let's create one really quick. So we'll just do context, create that empty dictionary for now. We will render out a model form. So once we create that, and let's throw in context in here as the last parameter. So we'll just do context. And I also want to make sure that this view here is restricted to only logged in users. So let's just go ahead and add that decorator. So we'll just say, what was the decorator called? Login required. So we'll just do login underscore required, and we'll just say the login URL is going to send the user back to the login page. So you should only be able to go to this page if you are logged in. So let's save this and let's go into the URLs here, and let's see, we'll just do add skill or create skill. So we'll do a path here, make sure you add in a comma, close that off there like that, and then we'll just do create dash skill forward slash, and then we'll pass in the view. So we'll just do views dot create skill, and then the name will be the same. So the name is the URL path here. So we'll just do create dash skill. Okay, so all standard stuff. We're just hooking up all the routes here. We have the view, make sure everything is saved. And let's go into account.html and link this up here. So let's go to the top, and we have our create skill link somewhere here. So let's see, or add skill. So about me, profile here, skills, here is that link. So let's link this up. So we'll set this. This will point to create skill. Set that URL tag. And that's going to create dash skill. And let's see this. So if I refresh this, and we'll style this at the end, by the way. So if I go to add skill, there we go. We can see that skill. There's no form at this point because we don't have that model form. So let's go ahead and render this out. So we'll go into forms.py and we'll create a new model form. So we've done this a bunch by now. So in here, we just want to import skill. And I don't even think we have the model. Let's see, did we ever create that? Okay, yeah, we did. So we have to render that out somewhere. I got that confused with the message model, which we'll create later. So let's close out account here, and we'll go into forms.py inside of our users app, and let's just import skill, and let's create a model for that. So, or a model form. So let's create the class, and this is going to be skill form, and this will inherit from model form, And then we need to set the meta. So we'll just do class meta here. And this is gonna hold the model of skill. And then the fields, we're gonna do all like this. So we'll just do all, and then we also just wanna make sure we eliminate the owner. So in the skill model, there is also an owner. So if we look at this, we just wanna hide that field. So we don't want anybody creating a skill actually setting the owner. We just wanna make sure that's hidden and that gets created automatically. So in this case, we can just do exclude. So we can do it like that. And that should exclude whatever field that I want. So I believe I can just do owner like that. And that's gonna list out all the fields and then it'll exclude that owner. So before we style this, so we'll actually style it like this. So actually let's just do that now. So let's just copy this and we'll paste this below. So might as well add in all the classes to those fields. So we just need to change this to skill form. So we're gonna do this eventually anyways. We've been through this, so you should understand this. Make sure your indentation's right and update the super method. Okay, so now we just want this form inside of our view here. So we'll go into views.py and we'll import skill form and we can use that in the template now. So let's go down here and we'll just do form, pass in the form here. And I forgot to set that, so let's set the variable. We'll just do form, and that's gonna be set to skill form. Okay, so that will pass in the form here into the context dictionary. So now in the template, I can just go ahead and output this. So we'll just go ahead and loop through all the fields. So we'll just say for field in form, and then create that end for here. So close out that loop, end for. And we'll just output skill or field. So we'll just do field, and then we can output the field label. So we'll just do field.label. Let's see, can't seem to wrap that. So we'll just do field.label, and that should be good for now. So we are outputting the model form. We're passing that into the view. We render that out in the template, and let's take a look at this. So if I refresh that, now we see a name and a description and the submit button. So that looks good. So next we just want to process this. So to actually process this view, this should be easy. Let's go ahead and go back into the add skill view and let's just check the method. So we are sending a post method here. So this action will go to the current URL, whether we are in the update route or the create route. So we'll just do if request.method. So if this is a post request, then let's go ahead and process this. So if the method is post, we can just do form. That's going to be set to skill form. And then we want to pass in request.post. And we also want to associate the skill with a particular owner. So let's go ahead and get the profile. So the currently logged in user, and this will be request.user.profile. So we're getting that user's profile, and then we can just do if form.is_valid. So we're just making sure all the data is valid. Then let's process this. So we'll just do skill. So let's set that variable, and that's going to be set to form.save. Commit will be false. We've done this a bunch. It's just going to give us the instance. So we'll do commit. It's going to give us the instance of the skill, so just the object. So now we can access the object and update the owner. So we can do skill.owner, and that's going to be set to profile. So did I call that attribute owner? Yes, I did. Okay. So we'll just finish this up. We'll just do profile and then skill.save. So now I just want to redirect the user. So we'll just do return, redirect, and we want to send the user back to their account. So we want them to be able to see it. So we have our create skill view. We get the owner, we get that form. And then when we process the data, we pass in the post data, we check if it's valid, set the owner instance, and we save it and then redirect the user. So let's test this out here. So if this works, we'll quickly style the form here. So let's just go ahead and refresh it. And we'll just, let's see, what kind of skills do I want here? So I have React, Django, Python, HTML, CSS. Let's just say Postgres, that'll be a skill. So we'll just do Postgres, and we won't add a description, so we'll save that. Now Postgres is listed out, and because I did not add the description, that is listed out down here. So if I go into the actual profile, it's listed out as a tag. So that is our add skill functionality. So let's add a skill with a description. So now we'll just say AWS, and now I can say I've worked with AWS for 3 years. So we're just adding some kind of description. So for 3 years or something like that, just use some lorem ipsum if anything. So submit that. Now I can see the description. So if I go back to the profile, now AWS is listed out here. So perfect. So before we style it, let's actually handle the update functionality, and then we'll style it, and then we'll finish up with the delete view. So we also want to style the delete view at some point. So let's go back into the text editor here, and let's just copy the create skill view, and let's just paste that below, and we're just going to modify this. So we are going to change the name here to update skill. So now we have a create skill and an update skill. And in here, we want to make sure that a user is logged in. So we'll leave that decorator, and let's pass in the primary key. So we actually need to get the skill by its ID when we go to edit it. Now in here, we'll leave profile. So we still want to get the logged in user, but now we want to get the skill that we are modifying. So in this case, we'll go into profile.skill_set. So this will ensure that only the owner can edit it. So we'll just do skill_set.get, and we'll just pass in the ID and the primary key. So now we can set the instance of the skill in this form. So we'll just do instance. It's going to tell us what skill we are editing. It's going to pre-fill that information. Then in the post method, we're going to do if request.method is post. We still pass in that post data. In this case, we want to pass in the instance again. So we want to modify a particular skill. So we'll just do instance, and that's going to be this skill that we queried. Okay, so we passed that in. We can actually get rid of these two. So we don't need to set the owner because we already know who the owner is. The skill has been created, so we can remove that. And we'll just change this to form.save. Then we simply redirect the user, we pass in the form, and we are still using the skill form.html. So we want to keep that consistent. So let's save this, and let's create the URL here. So let's copy create skill, and this will be updated to update skill, and we need to pass in the primary key. So we'll just do str and then pk, and then let's close that out like that, and update this to update skill. Okay, so we'll just change the name here, and that should be good. So let's save the URLs, and let's save the view, and then let's go back into our account.html page, and let's link this up here. So we have the create skill link, and then as we're looping through the skills, we have the edit button right here. So let's go ahead and change this. So edit is the top one here, and we'll just change this to URL and then update-skill. Then we need to pass in the skill ID. So we'll just do skill.id like that. And let's save this. And let's see what we have here. So if I go ahead and refresh this, let's go into edit. So we have that data pre-filled. Let's go ahead and update this to updated like that. Save it. And there we go. So React was updated, and now we can modify our skills. So before we move on to the delete message, what I want to do is style in this form and add in some flash messages. So earlier on, we were working with flash messages. So that's already built into main.html. So if we have any, those are simply going to be output. So main.html, we have this loop here that checks for messages. So let's go ahead and go into the views, and let's go into like the register or login view. And let's just copy this one right here. And let's start with create skill. So when we create a new skill, let's go ahead and change this to message.success. And we'll say skill was added. So we just want to let the user know. So skill was added successfully with an exclamation point. And did I spell that wrong? Let's see. Oh, that needs to be 2 L's, I think. That's one of those words I always misspell. So let's copy this one, and let's go into update, and we'll just say skill was updated. Okay, so let's just test that really quick, and then we'll style the form. So let's go to edit, and we'll just add something. We'll just do a dot there. So now we see that message. Let's edit that again. Close it out. Let's go to add a skill. So let's just do Heroku. And there we go. Skill was added. So for this form, we already have the template, and we've worked with it a few times. So it should already be in your root directories templates folder. If not, go into the resources folder, the one that we downloaded, go into dev search theme, and let's go ahead and open this up here in your text editor. So form-template. So I already have that in my root directory. I dragged it in here. So let's open this up here. So form-template. And let's take this entire form. So the main tag right here, this is just simply going to give us a wrapper around our form. So let's copy this and let's go into skill form. We'll paste this below. And at this point, let's just take this div right here and let's put this inside of this loop here. So as we're looping through our form fields, let's take this field value, remove that input value. So we already have the class of input. We did that with our model form, so we don't need to worry about doing this again. So we have that field, then let's add this label, which is copy and paste this right here. Let's get rid of this. And let's take the submit button. Actually here, we're just gonna go into that styled form. So let's go down here and let's just remove all these fields now. So this input field, this one right here, and this one. So we'll just leave that styled input field right here. So now what I wanna do is just take this entire form, or let's just take these two values. We'll paste this into the form below. We'll leave the class as post, paste that in like that. And then we want to take this loop and paste this into the form along with the CSRF token. So copy that and paste it in here. So we'll fix that indentation. Now we have our form with a CSRF token. So let's just go ahead and delete this one now. So it's just a copy of that form and styled. Let's get rid of that H1 tag. So we just took that form and then put it inside of this styled form right here and just modified the data. So let's save this and let's try this one more time, make sure that it works. So if I refresh that, we also want to modify this back button. So let's quickly add a new skill. We'll just say jQuery. So we're going old school here. We're adding jQuery to our stack here. So we have that, and now we just want to set this back button to our account. So we want the user to be able to go back to their account if they decide to change their mind or something like that. So we'll just do account and let's see. So if we go to a skill, let's do edit, then we can go back. Perfect, so that looks good. So the next thing I wanna do is build in our delete view. Now the delete view, if we go ahead and take a look at that template, this is currently sitting inside of our projects app. So projects right here, and we have a delete template. Now we are gonna be using this same template for all of our delete views. So we're just going to use this template and we pass in an object and that's it. So let's go ahead and actually take this template and we'll put it into our root directories templates folder. So that way we can use it in all of our applications here. So, or yeah, I guess we can use it in our projects app and our users app. So let's do this. Let's go into our Django project. Let's open up the folder. Let's go into projects, templates, and then projects. Let's take the delete template. And let's go back into the root directory and let's go into templates where we have our nav bar here, main.html and all those, and let's paste it in here. So now we have our template and we can go back into our projects app, into templates, projects, and let's delete the delete template. And we just need to update those views really quick just so those don't break. So let's go ahead and close these out. Let's close everything out here. And let's go into the projects app now and into the views, and let's just find everywhere we are using the delete template. So at this point, it's just this one view, and that's delete project. So let's go ahead and change this route. So right now, if I save this and if I try to open up my page here, so if I go to account and then if I go into delete, we're not going to see a template. So first of all, I don't think it's linked up. Oh, that was supposed to be to the projects, not the skills. So let's go to delete. So it's going to tell me this template does not exist. So what we need to do is simply change this because now it's not in our app. It's going to be sitting inside of a root directory, so we can just configure it like that. So we did this at the very beginning when we were talking about templates. So if that confuses you, go check out the templates video. So now if I refresh this, now we can see the template. So let's quickly first integrate the delete skill functionality. So let's integrate this and then we will style that template. So let's go back and into the users app. Let's go ahead and create the view here. So in this case, we are going to create a route. We're going to call this delete skill. So we'll create a new function-based view, and this is going to be called delete skill. And we'll pass in request, and we also want the ID. So we'll pass in PK, the primary key, and I forgot to create the actual function. And let's go ahead and return that template. So we'll just do return render, and we'll pass in request. and we are going into delete underscore template .html. So we can use this template throughout all of our apps now. So now we'll just pass in the context dictionary. So we'll just do context, and let's create that. So we'll just do context, create the context dictionary. And what we want to do is actually get the skill here. So let's first get the user. So we'll just do profile. That's going to be set to request.user.profile. Then we want to get the skill. So we'll just do skill, and that's going to be set to profile.skill underscore set dot get. So we're just getting the skill from the profile, and that's going to be the ID value, and we're querying it by the PK, the primary key. So in here in the context dictionary, because the skill template, if we go into the root directory's skill or delete template folder, we are getting the object like that. So the object variable, and later on we'll confirm or we'll update this redirect option. So it'll be on the last page you were on. So it won't take you to the projects page. This value should be dynamic because we're using it for different objects here. So any object we're deleting, we pass it in as object. So the key here has to be object. So we'll just do object, and then we'll pass in the skill as the value. So now that we have the template and the skill, let's go ahead and set the URL and then actually connect this. So let's take this update skill value. We'll update these values now. So we'll just do delete, and then that's going to be delete skill. And then we can go into the name, change that to delete skill. And we just want to connect this into the account page now. So let's go into our users app, and we'll go into account.html. Let's link this up. So down here, as we're looping through all the skills, we have a delete link, and we're just going to set the href here. And this is pointing to, let me add that second parentheses there. So we'll just do URL, and this is going into delete skills. So a lot of repetitive stuff here. So delete dash skill, and then we need to pass in the skill ID. So skill.id. Okay, so we linked it up. We have our URL, so make sure we save everything. We pass in the primary key, and we have our view. So at this point, we're not going to be able to delete it just yet. So let's go ahead and refresh this. Let's go to delete, and it says, are you sure you want to delete? And then we'll just have the skill. So the name of whatever we want to delete. Now, when we hit confirm, we are going to send a post request. So let's go ahead and do this. So remember, in that template, we have a, let's see, where was that? We have a form, and it's sending it to whatever route we are currently on. We submit that post request. So let's go ahead and check that. So we'll just do if request.method is set to post. So if this is a post method, let's go ahead and just delete the skill. So we'll just do skill.delete. Okay, so we delete the skill, and then we just want to redirect the user. So we'll just do return, and then we'll just do redirect, and we are sending the user back to the account page. So when a user deletes their skill, they will be sent to the account page. So now let's go ahead and try this. So let's say we want to delete a skill. All the functionality is there. So let's say we want to get rid of jQuery. If we hit confirm, the skill was deleted. So at this point, let's just output a success message. So we'll just say skill was successfully deleted. We want to make sure the user knows skill was deleted successfully. So let's try that again. We'll refresh it. Let's remove Heroku. So delete, confirm, and there we go. There is our flash message. So the last thing we'll do here is we will style the skill form here. So delete, or not the skill form, but the delete page. So we're basically just going to create a wrapper just like any form here. So we're just going to use the same value here. We're just going to go ahead and wrap all the contents, and then this question right here will be set inside here. So when we go to delete, all this will be inside of that, and then when we customize go back here, this is going to take us back to the previous page. So because this template's used across our entire website, we always want the user to go back to the previous page instead of hard coding this value. So let's modify this. So what I'll do is use the same form template from the theme that we have. So I have that in my templates folder in the root directory, and that's form template. I told you that we were going to use this a lot, so that's why I saved it in here. So let's take everything from the closing main tag all the way to the top. Let's copy this and let's go into delete.html. So we'll paste this below, and then let's modify this. So the first thing is inside of that form, let's delete these input values and let's leave just that final button here. So this one right here, this input button, we'll leave that here. And let's go ahead and go into this form. Let's take in the action and the method and we'll paste that in here. So we'll just paste that over here. Then we want the CSRF token and the go back URL. So the question, the CSRF token and this link, we'll paste that in here. And for the input button, we want to just say confirm here. So we'll just say confirm. Okay, so now we can delete the original form. So we don't need anything here anymore. And our entire question and form will be saved inside of that template now. So, or stored in the template. So we still have a few things we need to fix up here, but now we have a wrapper. And let's see, so what do I want to do here? So instead of having that go back link, let's take this out and let's just stick to what we have here. So we'll just keep this one. So if I refresh this, let's take a look. So it looks like something's not working. What did I do here? We'll just open up the terminal, see what the error is. May have turned off my server by accident. I didn't realize that. So let's just turn that back on. If you don't have that on, we'll just do run server. Let's try that again. Close this out. So I don't think I have any errors. And we'll go back to the page, refresh it. Okay, so are you sure you want to delete? And then it just says React here. So this looks good. I like the styling. What I want to do is just style this button now. So let's go back to the button and let's see. So I'm just going to take this class right here and we'll just apply it to this link now. So we just want to make sure that we have two buttons in line and I want that to be a different color. So let's see. So right now that's going to be purple. Actually, we'll leave it. So we'll just have a confirm and go back button. So there we go. We have a go back button, a confirm button. So that looks good. So the last thing I want to do, and this does work by the way, so we'll just test it. So let's delete Postgres, confirm that, and then that was deleted. So to actually configure that go back button, we have to do a few things here. So for this link, what did I click on? Oh, I clicked on edit. So let's go ahead and delete HTML. So this go back button is currently hard coded. So we're just pointing to projects and that's it. So I don't want this anymore. So what I want to do is actually make this a dynamic link. So what we can do is access the request object and we can do something like this and I'll explain what's happening. So we can just do request dot get dot next. So there is a next value that we can access. So at this point, this will be an empty URL. It won't do anything. So if I refresh this, let's go ahead and refresh that and let's do inspect here. If we look at the URL, it doesn't give us anything and I'll have to zoom in here, make sure everyone can see it. So let's try to take a look at that button. So here we go. We say go back and the href link goes nowhere. So we want to fix this. So in order to actually make this work, we need to go to the link that sends a user here. So we'll go into the delete URL here. And all we need to do is add in a get request here. So we'll just go ahead and do a question mark. So it's like a search parameter or basically just an extra parameter. And we'll just do next. And where do we want to send this user? So in this case, we're going to set the next value to /account. So that means that when we click on this link, this extra value will be appended. And then once we save it and go into the delete view, that is what's going to be added here. So when a user goes back, they're going to have that dynamic value. So let's try this. So if I refresh this, now we can see actually here, because I went to the link directly, it won't have it. So let's try this again. So we'll go into account. And if I hit delete, look what happens here. So we have next and then /account. So now when I click go back, this is going to be the link right here. So if I go back to the account, there we go. So we're going to use this dynamically later on. So let's go ahead and set that for the project here. So when we go to delete project, we want to make sure that that link is also appended. And in this case, when a user clicks delete on a project, they also should be sent back to the account page. So this link right here will be dynamic. So we can modify any link that we send to the delete method now. So let's copy this and let's find delete project. So I'll just do a control F here, delete -project. And here we go. So here is that link. And we're just going to add this outside of the curly braces here. So we'll just do a question mark, next, and account. So now if I happen to delete a project, so let's go back here into account and let's delete this empty project. And there we go. So now we were sent back to the projects page. What happened here? So let's see. Okay, so that shouldn't have happened. So delete project, and is that the right URL? So we have delete project, and then we're sending the user back to the account. So let's try that again. So that should not send me to this page. So I'll just do a hard refresh, Control-Shift-R, and let's delete, or let's add a project and then delete another one. So we'll save that. Let's go back to account, find the project, delete, and then go back. Okay, so confirm sends me there because that's where we want to reroute the user. But go back sends me to the right page. So that was actually what we needed. So let's confirm that. And at this point, I'm okay with the user going back to the projects page, but I'll probably change that to send the user to the account page. So to fix that, we'll just save everything that we have here, close everything out, and we'll go back into the projects app here. And before, it just redirected us to the projects because we had no user account, but I might as well do that now. So we'll just go into create project. So in create project, we want the user to go back to the account, and then in update project, let's send the user back to the account. So that is it for this video. In the next video, what we're going to do is start working on our search functionality. So right now, the search functionality in our projects page and our developers page does not work. So we're going to build this in, and then we'll go into adding pagination after that.